video is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this video for educational material. We have 5 objectives in this report. First, understand what is meant by the term globalization. Second, recognize the main 6 core claims of globalization. Third, aims to build a fair globalization and strengthen social cohesion. Fourth, emerging market economies. Fifth, discuss the pros and cons of the core claims of globalization.
For now, I'm going to discuss the first core claims in globalization. Is that globalization is about the liberalization and global integration of markets. Globalization refers to the process of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence among countries through the liberalization and integration of markets, economies, and societies worldwide. It involves the movement of goods, services, capital, technology, and even ideas across borders. This interconnectedness has been facilitated by advancement in transportation, communication, and technology, allowing for easier and faster exchange of information and resources. Globalization has had a profound impact on various aspects of our lives, including trade, investment, culture, and the way we communicate. It has opened up new opportunities for businesses, fostered cultural exchange, and enabled the sharing of knowledge and innovation on a global scale. One example of globalization is the rise of multinational corporations that operates in multiple countries. These companies have expanded their operations globally, establishing production facilities, supply chains, and distribution networks across different nations. Through globalization, MNC can access new markets, benefit from the lower production costs, and tap into diverse talent pools. For instance, companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Coca-Cola have a global presence, with their products and services being sold and consumed in various countries around the world. This expansion has not only increased their reach but has also contributed to exchange ideas and technology and cultural influences between different regions. Here's a comprehensive explanation of globalization along with concrete example of its pros and cons. First, we have pros of economic growth. One of these examples is China's rapid economic growth in the late 20th and early 21st centuries was facilitated by globalization as it became a major player in international trade and attract foreign direct investment. Second is the increased trade. One of these examples is the North American Free Trade Agreement and European Union have facilitated increase among members countries, leading economic benefits for involving nations. Next, we have access to resources. One of these examples is developed countries often gain access to natural resources from developing nations, or ensuring steady supply of materials crucial for industrial productions. Next, we have technological transfer. One of these examples of technological transfer is globalization has facilitated the transfer of technology between countries, allowing developing nations to adopt advancement method and improve productivity. Next, we have cultural exchange. One of these examples is the spread of information and entertainment through global media has led to a more interconnected world, or fostering cultural exchange and understanding. Next, we have job creation. One of these examples is global companies outside certain function to other countries can create job opportunities, and economic growth is in this region. Next, we have cons of globalization is income inequality. One of these examples can exacerbate income inequality within countries as the benefits often concentrate in certain sectors or among certain groups. Second is the loss of jobs. One of these examples of offshoring and outsourcing can lead to job losses in developed countries as companies seek lower labor costs in other parts of the world. Next is environmental degradation. One of these examples is Increased global trade can contribute to environmental degradation due to the transportation of goods, deforestation, and exploitation of natural resources. Next, we have cultural homogenization. One of these examples is the dominance of Western culture in global media, and business can lead to the erosion of local cultures, language, and traditions. Next, we have dependency on global markets. One of these examples, nations heavily reliant on export may face economic instability during global economics or economic downturns or disruption in international trade. Next is we have exploitation of labor. One of these examples, some industries in developing countries may exploit cheap labor, leading to poor working conditions and low wage.
So, globalization is the process of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence among countries, economies, cultures, and societies through the exchange of goods, services, information, ideas, and people. It has become a defining feature of the modern world, driven by advancement in technology, transportation, and communication. Here's why globalization is often considered inevitable and irreversible. But before that, globalization is a natural and unstoppable process that will continue indefinitely. Examples: the integration of technology and communication systems that enable global connectivity. And here are the pros and cons. So first is the pros. So economic growth brings numerous benefits including increased job opportunities, higher standards living, technological advancement, and enhanced infrastructure development. Second is cultural exchange, promotes understanding, tolerance, and appreciation, diverse perspectives, fostering mutual respect and global harmony. It enriches societies by introducing new ideas, customs, and tradition, stimulating creativity and encouraging collaboration across borders. Additionally, it can contribute to economic growth through tourism, trade, and cultural industries. And job opportunities provide individuals with financial stability, empowerment, and sense of purpose. They contribute to economic growth by increasing consumer spending, fostering innovation, and reducing unemployment rates. And lastly, in pros is technological advancement, which is rapid of the technological advancement, particularly in communication, transportation, has made world more interconnected than even before. Communication and facilitated exchange of information, ideas, goods across borders. And lastly is the cons, inequality. So inequality perpetuates social division, hinders economic growth by limiting opportunities and widening the gap between the affluent and the marginalized. Environment impact leads to degradation of ecosystems, loss of biodiversity, and exacerbation of climate change, posing long-term risk to human health, well-being, and sustainability. So, cultural homogenization erodes diversity, diminishes cultural heritage, and can lead to the loss of unique traditions and identities, resulting in the less vibrant of enriched global society. Thank you.
Nobody is in charge of globalization. The great beauty of globalization is that no one is in control. The great beauty of globalization is that it is not controlled by any individual, any government, and any institution. No, nobody is in charge of globalization. encapsulates the decentralized and intricate nature of the globalizing processes shaping our interconnected world. Unlike traditional system with clear hierarchies, globalization is not governed by a single entity or authority. Instead, it is a result of multifaceted interactions among various actors, including governments, businesses, non-governmental organizations, and individuals. This lack of a central authority allows globalization to evolve organically, driven by decisions and actions of countless players on the global stage. Governments may implement policies, multinational corporations engage in cross-border trade, and individuals contribute through cultural exchanges and technological advancements. The absence of a single governing body enables adaptability to changing circumstances and encourages innovations as different entities respond to economic, technological, and societal shifts. However, the decentralized nature of globalization also brings challenges. Decision making becomes dispersed, making it difficult to address global issues comprehensively. Environmental concerns, economic inequalities, and public health crises, for instance, require coordinated efforts that can be challenging without a centralized authority guiding global responses. Nobody is in charge of globalizations. Invites contemplation on the shared responsibility that emerges from living in an interconnected world. It suggests that while no one entity singularly controls or directs global decisions, collective actions and collaborative governance are essential for managing its impacts and ensuring that it serves the interest of humanity as a whole. Nobody is in charge of globalization has pros and cons, and it starts with its pros. Its pros has increased economic efficiency, access to a wider range of goods and services, and potential for economic growth. And now, without a single entity in charge, globalization can be more adaptable and responsive to diverse needs. And also, lack of centralized control allows for market-driven innovations and competitions, and resulted to fostering economic growth, while its cons are in income inequality, exploitation of labor in less regulated markets, and potential for economic crisis to spread globally. Now, with this, globalization without oversight can exacerbate economic inequalities between nations and within them. And also, absence of governing body can result in challenges like inadequate responses to global crises such as health pandemics or environmental issues. The lack of regulation may lead to exploitation of labor and resources in certain regions, impacting vulnerable populations.
Good day everyone, I am Kantit Givana and I will be talking about the fourth claim, which is the globalization benefits everyone. So the idea behind this claim is that globalization, through increased interconnectedness and integration of economies, cultures, and societies, has the potential to bring about positive outcomes for people around the world. Proponents argue that nations engage in global trade, share information, and collaborate on various fronts, there are widespread benefits that can enhance the well-being of individuals globally. For examples, economic growth. Globalization has facilitated economic growth by opening up new markets and opportunities for businesses. Countries that engage in international trade often experience increased prosperity and higher living standards. Another example is access to information and technology. The spread of information and technology is a key aspect of globalization. This has led to advancements in education, healthcare, and various other fields, benefiting people by providing access to knowledge and innovation. Another example is cultural exchange. Globalization enables the exchange of cultural ideas, practices, and products. This cultural diversity can enhance individuals' understanding of the world, foster tolerance, and create a more interconnected global society. So, let's proceed to the pros. First is economic opportunities. Globalization provides access to larger markets, attracting investments and creating job opportunities, which can contribute to economic growth development. Next is innovation and technology transfer. So the exchange of ideas and technology between nations can lead to rapid innovation and development, addressing global challenges more effectively. Next is cultural enrichment. So because of the exposure to diverse cultures can promote tolerance and understanding, fostering a more inclusive and interconnected world. So let's proceed to its cons. First is inequality. Globalization can exacerbate income inequality between countries. So as certain regions or social groups may benefit more than others. Next is loss of cultural identity. The spread of Western culture and values driven by globalization has led to concerns about the erosion of local cultures and traditions. So next is environmental impact. So the increased movement of goods and people associated with globalization can contribute to environmental degradation, including pollution and climate change. So that's all of my topic. Thank you everyone for listening.
So hi everyone. So today I'm gonna be explaining about the globalization furthers the spread of democracy in the world. So globalization in the context of democracy, it involves the interconnectedness of nations through economic, political, and cultural exchanges. So the argument for globalization's fostering democracy suggests that as countries engage in international trade, communication, and collaboration, democratic principles may gain traction. So first, the number one is the access to information. So globalization increased access to information, enabling citizens to be more informed about democratic values and systems in other parts of the world. This can inspire demands for democratic reforms in autocratic or less democratic societies. So democracy is kind of free will to the people, which is they have their own freedom. So the next one is the economic development. So its proponents argue that globalization through economic development and trade can contribute to the growth of the middle class. Historically, a robust middle class has been associated with increased demands for political participation and democratic governance. So the next one is the international norms and institutions. So globalization fosters the creation of international institutions and norms that often advocate the democratic principles. So organizations like the United Nations promote human rights and democratic governance as universal values. But however, so when it comes to these aspects, it is essential to note that globalization doesn't guarantee the automatic spread of democracy, because there is challenges include maybe the cultural differences, like different cultures may have varying perspectives on governance. Imposing Western-style democracy may not align with local values, leading to resistance or challenges in implementation. The next one may be the economic inequality. Globalization can exacerbate economic disparities, which may undermine democratic ideals. So rising inequality can lead to social unrest and political instability rather than fostering democratic governance. So the next one is the authoritarian responses. So some countries may respond to globalization challenges by tightening control, limiting political freedoms, and suppressing a dissent as a means to maintain stability. So while globalization can contribute to the spread of democratic ideals, the relationship is intricate, influenced by various factors including cultural diversity, economic dynamics, and political responses.
Good day everyone, I am Manfred, and I will be continuing the report or discussion about the fifth core claims of globalization, which is globalization furthers the spread of democracy in the world. So I will be discussing about the pros and cons. So let's start with the pros. Promotion of human rights, democratic values, and global cooperation for peace. So this links to the access to information and ideas. Globalization has facilitated the exchange of information and ideas across the world via the internet or by the use of technologies. The increased flow of information through the internet and other communication technologies has empowered individuals to access diverse perspectives, challenge authoritarian regimes, and demand democratic reforms. It has enabled people to be better informed about their rights, political processes, and the importance of democratic values. And also, global cooperation for peace, which globalization has increased interdependence among nations, creating incentives for peaceful cooperations. Economic interdependence, trade relations, and shared security concerns have encouraged countries to resolve conflict through diplomatic means rather than resorting to violence. International organization and reforms provide platforms for dialogue and negotiation, fostering peaceful resolutions to dispute, promoting democratic governance. So next will be the cons. So first con, potential for cultural imperialism, which links to the loss of local tradition and costumes. Globalization can lead to the homogenization and commercialization of cultures, resulting in the loss of unique local traditions and costumes. As Western cultural values and norms are often dominant in the global market, there is a risk of smaller cultures being overshadowed and marginalized, and cultural homogenization, which globalization can contribute to a global consumer culture that promotes standardized products and values. This can lead to the loss of cultural diversity and the commodification of cultural expressions, which local traditions can or are adapted or simplified to fit global market demand. And also, potential for cultural conflict. Globalization also lead to cultural clashes and conflicts as different cultures interact and come into contact with each other. The imposition of one culture values and practices on another can create tension and resistance, hindering the promotion of democracy and human rights. So second con. So authoritarian regimes. Non-democratic regimes such as authoritarian government may resist the spread of democracy and democratic values. They may view globalization as a threat to their hold on power and seek to control or suppress democratic movements within their countries. And also the repression and human rights violation, which non-democratic regimes may respond to democratic movements with repression, censorship, and human rights violation. They may restrict freedom of expression, assembly, and association to maintain their authority and prevent the spread of democratic ideals. Third con. unequal power dynamics. Economic inequalities, which globalization can exacerbate economic inequalities between countries and within societies. Developed countries often have more resources, capital, and technology advancement, giving them a significant advantage in the global market. This unequal distribution of economic power can hinder the promotion of democracy as it can lead to imbalance in political influence and decision making. And also, power imbalance in international institutions, global governments, structures, and international institutions may reflect unequal power dynamics, decision-making processes in global institutions such as the Nation Security Council or international financial institution may be dominated by few powerful countries, limiting the voices and influence of smaller or less developed nations. This can hinder the democratization of global governance and perpetuate power imbalance. And that will be it. And next reporter will be Ancient Cadet Langunzan, which will tackle the 6 core claims of globalization.
So my topic is globalization requires a global war on terror. Globalization intensifies interdependence, making the need for a collective global effort against terrorism crucial. As societies become more interconnected economically and social terror, threats transcend borders, impacting stability worldwide. A global war on terror is essential to address the transnational nature of extremist networks and prevent the spread of violence. Cooperation among nations becomes imperative to share intelligence, coordinate security measures, and foster diplomatic solutions. By collectively combating terrorism, societies can safeguard the interconnected fabric of globalization, promoting peace, stability, and mutual prosperity on a global scale. So, for example, the rise of terrorism in a country can cause fear and insecurity, which can spread to different parts of the world due to the connection and interaction of countries under globalization. The cooperation of different countries is important to maintain peace and safety around the world. So the pros here is enhance global security to protect the benefits of economic globalization while addressing the challenges posed by terrorism on a global scale. So second is cooperation against common threats and protection of human life. So yes, cooperation to maintain peace and safety. So that is the pros. So next is cons. First is potential for abuse of power, erosion of civil liberties, and risk of exacerbating tensions between nations. So globalization aims to ensure security and stability. Critics highlight the potential downsides, including the risk of abuse of power, erosion of civil liberties, and the possibility of heightening tensions between nations.